r/Askreddit. How much do guys actually care about boob size? I don't care as long as hers are bigger than mine. More people than you think are part of the IBTC. Every guy is different. I prefer smaller ones, but the last girl I dated had double G and they were awesome too. I've dated girls with huge boobs, medium boobs, almost no boobs. They are all amazing if you are seriously into the person. I honestly don't care as long as they're natural. I will take empty saggy over something that looks like two basketballs attached to someone's chest. Not much at all tbh. It can range from to super humongous. Very little. As long as it hosts a nipple, I'm good. I prefer boobs to be average or a bit smaller. Something that fits in my hand it just. I only care when they are too big. I'm more of a BC kind of guy myself. Doesn't matter. I enjoy anything from A to C or D cup. Not really a fan of anything beyond that. Boobs are like butterflies. You don't stop and say hey that butterfly is too large or hey that butterfly is too small, you just acknowledge them and enjoy. But not for too long cause it's mad creepy. In most cases. As long as they're not bolt-ons. You're golden. Kinda prefer B's and C's. But honestly it's more about fitting the frame. 100-pound chicks with DD implants is just disgusting. I like the smaller girls. The flat ones are actually my type. As long as there isn't 100% nothing. Or hooage then it's fine. Not as much as you've probably been led to believe. I'd take a fit slim girl with small average boobs over one who has gargantuan curves. That just does nothing for me. It's not about the size. It's about the shape. I'm an ass man. I like ass more. So boobs are all okay if not too big. Quality, quantity. As much as girls care about penis size really, it is in every way the same. Boob is boob. I'm more concerned about them being too big than too small. Personally, I like smaller, A-cup, tits. I'm a girl with very large breasts. And none of the guys I've been with care at all about big boobs. I wish I had smaller boobs. Shape, size. I don't care as long as they are natural. Rather have too small than too big. Though. We don't. The only thing that matters to me is, can I touch them? Lesbian here, but honestly big boobs are overrated to me. Maybe it's cause I have them, but every size is beautiful to me. Flat is justice. Depends per the guy. I like ones that aren't too big but aren't too small. Some guys even like the massive hentai tits. For me it's about feel more than size. I like firm boobs. And small medium size boobs are usually firmer. I like big boobs. A lot. But they're definitely not necessary for a girl to be attractive. A pretty face is way more important. I generally prefer petite women, so part of that is small breasts usually. More about proportions. I prefer the stomach to not stick out further than the nipples. Too big is unattractive. A handful or so is just enough. Shape, size. More of an ass man. I like all variety of sizes, but the ones I like more than other sizes are small boobs. I think small boobs are cute and are a bit better than bigger boobs. Big boobs are more exciting before you actually see them. Small boobs are often better to look at. More about shape and proportion ratio than actual largeness. It's all personal preference. I prefer smaller sizes. And I'd be quite happy with a pair of A's. C's are probably my limit. I don't really like larger sizes past that. I don't really care, but gotta admit I love me some big breeds. A boob of any size in the hand is better than a perfect sized boob you can't touch. Depends on the guy. Some are obsessed. Some couldn't care less. I'm an ass man myself. Boobs are great, but I don't really care too much about the size and shape of them. Boob size isn't that big of a deal until it comes to you wanting to seduce someone. Most men would prefer a handful. too big and too small might be turn off for some guys. So focus on other assets. Don't care at all. If they're on the person I like, then I don't care in the slightest what size they are unless they end up being a physical burden to them. Really don't care, but if it's too big I kinda care. I prefer smaller more, but don't really care unless it's fake. Not a fan of enlarged breasts at all. It's all about shape and perkiness. Any size except too big to the point where it's obnoxious and likely fake. It's more about the shape tbh. I personally prefer more on the small to medium size. Big can be pretty good, but it usually comes down to shape. So finding big ones that are also shaped really nicely can be a bit less common. From having large natural breasts, to deflated from nursing working out, to recent breast augmentation, I can tell you they just like seeing boobs. No one ever complained or ever said a bad thing. From my female perspective anyway. Size doesn't matter. Shape and perkiness are way more important than size. Doesn't matter at all to me. I've been with girls with big and small boobs and neither was better than the other. Depends on the guy. For a friend of mine it's very important. For me, I literally don't care at all. Boobs don't mean anything to me. I care a decent amount. Anything bigger than a B cup is too big for my preferences. Women care more about other women's breast size. Men it varies. Depends on the guy. I like them big enough to cup in my hand but also small enough to cup in my hands. Of course I don't mind either way. I'd rather too small than too big though. I don't care what size they are. Just as long as they aren't fake. As long as it suits you well. But I hate absolutely huge titties. They just look very unproportioned. If you are overweight or fat and have super small titties, I'm gonna start questioning if you're a guy or not. Just as long as it is somewhat proportioned. Personally, I only care that they are natural. Preferably, I prefer on the smaller side. It's more about attitude. Little titties can be just as hot. I know some guys like them big but I've never understood it myself. I don't like them big. I think my max is like D. I know I like C cups. I mean it's a perfectly nice size. And I don't mind smaller. I don't know. Call me weird. But I'll always prefer boobs I can hold instead of boobs that crush my hands due to the sheer weight. 35-year-old guy here with a number of mid-20ish and who I'd consider to be a reasonable barometer of what straight guys think. Boob size matters a little bit. Not a lot. But boob shape form also matters as well. Like, nicely shaped B-boobies are far greater than janky looking dinner plate C's or D's. There's something most men find slightly off-putting about totally flat-chested women. But even that is not a huge deal. I'd say on a scale of 1-10. Size is a 3 and appearance form is a 7. There is definitely a size limit for me personally on how large they can be. But I have no problems with small boobs. I quite like them. Honestly not tremendously but it is a consideration. For me my preference is A or B. I'm not going to put anyone down with anything larger and there's plenty of beautiful women with larger breasts but it's just not my preference. And yeah that preference is influenced by a prior relationship. But at this point it's well established. I honestly like small boobs. But how attractive I find you is not linked to those specifically. If your boobs are bigger than I usually like, that doesn't make you unattractive to me. I think most mature adult hetero men will say the same thing. I like about a handful. But I have big hands. I've got about as much as I can handle right now. If you know what I mean. I don't really care about size or if they're real or fake. I like women with A cups and women that look like Amy Anderson. It's all about how you carry yourself. I'm to the point where I don't date women above a C cup. And that's pushing it. Just don't care for big boobs at all. As long as it's not huge fake tits I'm great. Small adorable are great, so are big, so are medium. But ass is where it's at. I personally prefer smaller tits. I can't think of any of my friends who actually care about chest size. Similar interests and fun to chill with. Attention seekers are annoying, are what we want. However tbh. Men nowadays who are looking for relationships are more interested that they find someone who doesn't hate Y chromosomes and wants to start a family. I mean, I guess I kinda prefer smaller ones. Like that I can fit my hand around. I think they're cute in a good way. They make me happy. I'm not too bothered by it. I'm more of a midriff kind of guy anyways. It depends on the guy obviously. Personally, not much. It bothers me way more to see unnatural big boobs, or natural huge boobs, way more than a flat chest. Think of it this way. If you have a flat chest or small boobs it usually isn't a negative. But if you have decent sized ones it can be a plus, but if we really like you it probably won't affect us in any way. I would say I don't care at all. But I guess there is such a thing as too big. They shouldn't look like beach balls. My last GF had less than an A cup and it didn't matter at all. I'm pretty good with small to medium boobs. Large boobs are pretty cool but I can get with smaller boobs no problem. On a purely evolution based level size doesn't quite matter as much as symmetricality. Also real boobs, fake boobs. That's generally where consensus ends. Honestly I prefer smaller. Which I like more petite girls and I want boobs that fit her body. It's kinda hard for boobs to be too small for me. But they can 100% be too big. With that said though, what's above the shoulders matters way more for me. Nice smile, pretty eyes, hair, and the biggest thing, personality. I knew a girl in high school that was very pretty according to most people but was a massive bitch. I didn't find her the least bit attractive. Too small isn't really a bother to me. But too big is.